going to share a few things with you that have been on my mind recently. And bear with me because I'm doing this in a style where I'm just going to sit down and talk to you and really don't want to do much editing at all because that is preventing me from uploading content that is very close to my heart. I'm really busy these days, but I still have my thoughts and I still want to share them with you. And this is something that came to me while we were out in our RV over the Christmas holidays. What we do is we take a trip here in Florida. We live in Florida. It's a nice, beautiful day here in Florida. And we plan our summer RV adventures while we are there over the holidays. That being said, we also take lots of adventures like going to the beach, watching sunrises and sunsets, riding our bikes, and exploring. What made me think about this is a couple of things. Number one, I did lose my dad this summer. He suffered from dementia in the last year and a half of his life, and that was really tough on me. It's made me really look at my own health even harder and know that that is not the way that I want to see anyone I care about or myself end their life. And so I really, even more so, delved into finding answers and looking into preventative things that I can do. And all of that to say is, I think when I was in my 30s, I was emailing my dad, and he worked at Disney at the time and had just gone to the doctor, and I said, well, Dad, how was it? And he replied that, Dawn, when you get 50, it's not really a whole lot of fun. It's not like when you were in your 40s and something started to hurt and you just waited a few days and it went away. When you're in your 50s, you can pretty much rely on the fact that it's going to be hurting forever. It's just going to be a sore spot and you're just going to have to deal with it. And I know I kind of laughed at my dad and dismissed it, but I'll be darned if I didn't turn 50 and all of a sudden started having my own issues with some inflammation and pain that persisted. That little thing and that little voice in the back of my head, remember my dad saying that. And I thought, surely this can't be. We were living in Memphis at the time. And my dad was in California. Out west, they're very active. They have lots of sunshine and they have lots of mountains to climb. In Memphis, there was a higher percentage of obesity there. That was just the norm. And if that's all you ever really are around, you can make some assumptions that that's just the general population. If you travel a lot, though, which we have been doing, and recently in the last 6 years, we moved to the Florida area. So it brought a different view of people, not so much obesity, but we have a lot of very active people. There's a lot of sunshine. It is easy to get out and do these things, and communities are made to promote that. I love it here for that. And we do have a lot of active people. However, what I do see more prevalent here is the acceptance of, when something starts to hurt, well, I have a pill for that. Or when something seems to be wearing out, there's an operation for that. And that is the norm. I'm not telling anyone that's wrong. I'm not here to say that that is not the right thing to do. I'm just here to say that's the norm here and accept it. When I go and travel with my husband in the RV to places like Colorado and Washington and California, you see a whole different environment. These are really fit people in their 70s, 80s, and 90s who are walking and hiking up mountains and riding bikes with the best of balance and have a really straight posture and are exposed to extremely healthy food options. It surprises me here in Florida that we don't have a more organic options. I felt like we even had better places to find organic food in Memphis area, and maybe that's just because the neighborhood I lived in had places that were close and supported that. Um, it really just is interesting what people accept based on the environment and their experiences at what the aging process is. And I want to put this out there because I don't know what your experience is. I did have some health issues right before we moved here and in the first few years that we moved here. And of course, it was during the time when I was in perimenopause and going into menopause. And ladies, if you're shaking your head, you know. And that caused me to just really go into trying a lot of things based on what the doctors were recommending, what my friends were recommending, what my clients said helped them. Lord knows I tried everything that I felt was a healthy option for me to try. And some of the things worked, and some of the things that worked for others clearly did not work for me. I did use my own gut instincts to follow that path and eventually ended up having good results in healing myself. I may do a video in this series later on to talk about that because I think maybe somebody else going through that might feel better hearing my story and how I persevered even though I felt that I was heading into some depression because no one seemed to have an answer. What this video is about, though, is really asking a couple of key questions. Does where you live influence how you age? And yes, if you've heard of the blue zones, there's clear evidence that some areas do promote healthier lifestyles or just really have an aging population that is doing better than the rest of the world. Loma Linda, I think, is the only one I know of that, when I did this research a few years ago, was in the United States. Now, there's lots of people, speculating on why that is, and clearly we can gain some good information on that, but that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your environment, the people you hang out with, the groceries at your store, how much sunlight you have. Does this affect how you age? And if it does, what if you're in an area that you're exposed to people who, most people are obese, most people don't have access to these quality foods, and you're just doing things like everyone else, wondering, why am I feeling so bad? That's one question that I have. And the second is, something that goes back to what my dad told me, that, when you're 50, things start hurting and you have to accept it. What if aging isn't something that just happens to us, that we all have to accept? What if we flip the switch and look at aging more as a skill, something that we can practice, learn about, and get better at? I get chills just thinking about that. And that's why I'm not going to edit this video. I'm just really going to put it out there to you to start this process, start the conversation. What is it that you think you can do, or share with the community, share with me, on how we really should be looking at this aging process? And if it is focused on, having a good group of friends, amen to that. If it's focused on mobility training, being nicer and kinder and gentler and not trying to, look like an image or have a body a certain way, but really being good to your nervous system? What are these things that we should be doing as we age to not have all of this pain and inflammation, to support each other? What are the things you are thinking they should be? And look, I don't have the answers. I have things that have worked for me, and I'm excited to share them with you in future videos. More than anything, though, I'm excited to hear all the things that are working for you. Real people sharing what is working. And I really want to hear these things, because I know if you share them with me, then there's going to be somebody that I'm going to come up on at a tennis match or at some luncheon that I'm at who's going to have a problem, the same issue that maybe you had. And I'm going to say, you know, one of my viewers told me about this and this really helped her. You might want to look into this. So let's be a good community. Let's share things. I can't wait to hear what your thoughts are on this subject. I really appreciate every single one of you, and I hope you made it this far. If you have and you're not subscribed, maybe hit that subscribe button, because that way you will know when the rest of this series, I think it's going to be a 10-part series, comes out, and we can explore more. If we live curiously and listen closely, we may become the example someone else didn't know they needed. Thank you so much. Have a great day.